Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is exciting. The Challenge Boxing is back. The 10-week training course that you all have been hearing about. It's back. So let's get on with it. Fight 1. In the black team, we've got George, the Big G. As he likes to be called. He's just 18, currently a student. He's taking on the gold corner, Jewell, also 18. He currently is a mechanic. There's George.
Big round of applause. This one's the first fighter. Ladies and gentlemen, fighting in the gold corner, he's 18. He's a mechanic. It's Josh Jewell.
Josh Jewell walking in here. On paper, you have to wonder, one being a student, one being a mechanic, perhaps the mechanic doing physical work, physical labour would be used to exerting some effort. Perhaps that will give him an edge. Really depends how their 10-week training has gone. Clearly a height difference between these two fighters. And immediately George, using his long reach, jab Josh, but a nice feint there from Josh. Just ducks one of the jabs. George, the Big G as he likes to be called. Starting out pretty hard. A nice jab there. Just got him to the side of the face. But Josh responds nicely. Just snapping the head back slightly there of George. Josh now appearing to get slightly more settled into the fight. Both boxers really exchanging jabs here. Neither fighter backing off. Lovely movement there from Josh. George still using his reach, got George up against the rope. George gets away very nicely. Josh really using an offensive tactic, not so much defense. With 25 seconds to go of round 1, both fighters have really displayed quite an exciting display of fighting already. Josh really laying in some jabs there. Notice Josh has to punch up towards the face of George. George has to have 4 or 5 inches on him in height. And there's the end of round 1. Well, some pretty good boxing there from both competitors. Now having a talk to from their corners. See here, George very focused, throwing some very strong jabs, but actually in the slow-mo replay just showing there that quite as many made contact. Just because a boxer throws a flurry of punches doesn't always mean when you watch it back that they did make contact all the time. Lovely hook there.
Seconds out, round 2.
And here we go with round 2. The cameras are flashing and immediately very similar to round 1. George and Josh both laying into each other. very bold movements from both. The mechanic using his short stature now to try and break through the defence of George. So far hasn't been very effective. Josh just starting to work the distance a little bit more. Josh really being cheered on by his corner. There's a lot of support for both fighters. Over the 10 weeks, relationships are really built up, culminating in this final fight. And people really do have quite a vested interest in the fates of these fighters. Josh's corner telling him to work. Perhaps they can see a little bit more tiredness here. Very nice there from Josh. He looks a bit relaxed. He did drop his guard, but he was stepping away just at the right timing to avoid the long reach of George. The big G. Lovely! Lovely work there from Josh. And George, possibly through tiredness, just seemed to relax slightly there. Lovely movement from Josh. Just circling his opponent. Trying to read his movement, see if he can find a gap. George definitely making the most of that long reach advantage that he does have over Josh. And Josh comes in with a lovely hook. And the crowd responds. An excellent round. If these two are setting the standard for the night, I'd like to see what's coming up next. A very fast-paced, energetic fight. For the sake of these fighters, we'll be glad it's only 3 rounds. 12 rounds. Probably have a heart attack after round 5. Really putting their heart and soul into this. See there, Josh getting a lot of jabs in. And now and again follows it up with a lovely hook. Some of which have been quite effective. Calling this one could be difficult.
Second time, round 3.
Both fighters having shown a lot of prowess in the ring. Josh covering up nicely there. Both fighters know it's the final round. Lovely movement there, unbelievable. Lovely movement from Josh. And George gets the count. I couldn't quite tell if he says he's ready. The referee's still counting. George very keen to carry on. It was difficult to tell whether it was the push of the punch or whether he was actually knocked down. Perhaps we'll see in the replay. But George is coming back with a vengeance, trying to show that he wasn't rocked by that punch. But he's still good to fight, still good to carry on. But you've got to think, if it stays even from now, that's got to count in Josh's favour. If it comes to a decision. Again, lovely movement from Josh. Starting to switch it up a bit. Getting low, getting high. Getting to a bit of a clinch there. Referee breaks them up for the last 30 seconds. And now it really comes down to fitness. It comes down to their 10 weeks training for the challenge boxing. As to who can hold out, put on the best performance. Remember, of course, Josh has knocked George down once during this fight. Josh really swinging wildly there. And George throwing a last few jabs. Didn't really seem to have much of an effect. Let's look at the replay here. lovely feint there. Oh, and he just clips him on the top of the head. George gets up very quickly and shows that he wasn't rocked too much by it. The force of it was enough to knock him down. Yes, it does look like George fell. His right foot slipped out from underneath him.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for both men. What a fight!
Great fight. Excellent.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of fight number 1. Fighting in the gold corner, Josh Jewell!
Josh gets it. I think that's fair. He did put on a fantastic performance. George seems a little disgruntled. Seems to think he might have won it. But the win goes to Josh Jewell. Fantastic performance.